Well, we see coronal mass ejection. The solstice creeps in on Friday. Spotless sun continues for 31 straight days. And interesting science articles. Solstice. We're going to give you 1 minute of lead time, and then we're going to be right back to do the space weather. So there's some good news for you. The colored magnetogram is back to functioning. So for that, we thank you, SDO site. Let's look at some other views here, as there are no features to look at, but we did see a coronal mass ejection. So I'm going to cover that momentarily after we go through a whole bunch of other stuff at a breakneck speed. Lastly, we're going to look at 193 angstroms for a coronal hole watch. And there's a significant one forming above the equator there on the east, and one south of the equator. So some coronal holes coming into view there, awaiting magnetic connections to those, I think. Let's look at the real-time solar wind to make sure. This is the 1 minute updates. And we just saw a sudden change in the phi angle, so we are back off of a coronal hole connection there, 306 degrees. And we've seen an uptick in the solar wind density here throughout the day, up to 17.01 protons per cubic centimeter. And solar wind speed still super low, 314 kilometers per second. Let's look at magnetosphere movies. First, we'll look at the density, and we expect it to be kind of high here, especially with a low speed and a high density. And there you can see, especially on the equatorial plane view, which is the left panel. Again, solar wind density just over 17 protons per cubic centimeter. Welcome to the neo-renaissance. Thanks for tuning in, the Smash team, and thanks for leaving comments, John and Terrence. Anyway, here's the pressure on the magnetosphere movies. And we see a slightly elevated pressure there on the bow shock side. That is the side facing the sun, located on the left side of your screen. We're going to look at geospace ground perturbations next. A little bit closer to home here on good old planet Earth. Interesting science article toward the end of the video here, so stay tuned for that. About deep earthquakes and what they mean for magma chambers. Anyway, this is the delta B, which is changes in the B field. For all of you pole excursion folks, 2 North Poles, 1 over Canada, 1 over Siberia, and the South Pole creeping into the Indian Ocean toward Western Australia. Please visit links in the description to help support the page, such as this one, smAsho.org. Also, thanks, patrons. Now, our tier here on Patreon is $1 because we're trying to get lots of patrons, not have a high-priced monthly service. And we do list some public stuff here. We have changed our logo once again. There's the large version. It's a 171 angstroms view of the sun with a Earth scale image there above the eagle's eye. It's all symbolic, folks. Anyway, thanks, patrons. Please support the channel if you're able. Also, check out our affiliate. We've just started to dip our tippy toe into the affiliate space here with the Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign. Links in the description to that also. Also, our cycling sponsor, VeloShop, theveloshop.net, still looking for sponsors to be on the team jerseys, as we've got some world level athletes, especially in the female category, such as shop owner Becky Quinn. So if you're interested in sponsoring the sport of cycling, an entire team in the cycling mecca of the Lehigh Valley, please email me at smashomash@gmail.com. Again, links in the description. Thanks, donors. It's making a big difference. And the GoFundMe campaign ends on Friday at midnight. Also, if you like the original music, check out soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. That's soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. Maybe download yourself a track, such as Unified Theory 3, which is referring to the unified theory of physics. That's only 99 cents. I've been concerned about the unified theory of physics since about 1991, folks. Also, SoundCloud, links in the description there. Some older music, part of what we call a representative sample. Check out spaceweather.com. I would note 10.7 centimeter radio flux has come back up to 67, which is still a solar minimum condition. Lots of articles about noctilucent clouds, cosmic rays, and so forth at spaceweather.com, so check that out. Spaceweathernews.com, a little bit more data compiled on the homepage, thanks to Ben Davidson. X-ray flux is flatlined. Looks like we're finally getting some striations here in the magnetometer, as the crossing of that polarity boundary has been taking its good old time. Looked like it was going to take about 1 day, and it's taken more like 3 days. We'll look at the Gong 2 in a moment to look at a whole lot of more complex magnetometer compiled data. KP has been steady at 1 for the past day or so, and electron flux is dipped once again, down to slightly lower levels than yesterday. And we're experiencing a proton light, folks, proton light. So no charging hazards as you'd expect, and the F2 layer is incredibly discharged in both the nighttime and the daytime side, all the way down to 7 megahertz on the sun-facing side. F2 layer extremely discharged. Sorry, all you ham radio operators and shortwave radio type people. You don't have much to bounce your signal off of. There's your aurora forecast, about what you would expect. Continue on, as there's quite a bit of stuff to cover. John, the KP has to be about 7 for it to get really bad. 7 is where you start to get the possibility of major power outages, as well as human health effects. We're going to look at the total electron content just to show that it's very low, and that your GPS will be working quite well even if you're around the equator at noon. So enjoy your well-functioning GPSs. Coldest and wettest. Yes, we are experiencing the coldest and wettest years 2 years in a row. So snowiest, lots of cold records broken, countless cold records broken. Here's the coronal mass ejection listed in the title, and it's very minor. It's off in the western limb here. Looks like it happens here. We're on the 18th. So it's about midday on the 18th there, small coronal mass ejection. We'll look at it on the C3 as well. Otherwise, not a lot going on. Terrence, the solar minimum usually lasts about a year or so. And just keep in mind that the coldest temperatures take about 2 or 3 years to lag the solar minimum, as ocean temperatures are what determine how hot or cool the atmosphere is. Anyway, there's that CME. Here it comes again as this plays through. There's the 17th. There's the 18th. See a CME right down here. It's I mean, it's significant, pretty minor, not earth facing at all. It's missing to the southwest, according to that coronagraph. Let's move on to the Gong 2. Make sure it's the latest images here. And what we're talking about is this boundary right here. You can see these very straight field force lines. There's some corona pile. There's some plasma piling up out there. So this might be a huge dud in terms of the magnetometer. I'm not going to conjecture any more about it. Let's look at stereo A's coronagraph. I don't think there's anything on it, but we're going to look anyway. Because remember, folks, you don't have to have an X-ray flare to have a coronal mass ejection. As you clearly see, there are coronal mass ejections without any X-ray flaring detected. As the sun is able to slingshot things around. So I believe what we're looking at on the LASCO C2 is actually this coronal mass ejection right here, which we're able to see from the opposite side. Stereo A located about 4 months behind the Earth, orbiting the sun. I'll show you where in a moment. Stereo A is located right about here, folks. And so what we saw was a coronal mass ejection that came out this way. And it's probably all part of the same coronal mass ejection. It was about the right time from what I was looking at. Anyway, here's the location of your planets, Milky Way galaxy team. And there's where they'll be in 1 week. And here's where they'll be on the solstice, which occurs just before noon Eastern time, and we'll be doing a live stream for that. So look out for our solstice stream. We did an equinox. We're going to try to do all the astronomical seasons, that is. If you're up before dawn, check out Saturn and Moon. They are extremely close in the sky up there. Although the Moon might be drowning out Saturn, might be very hard to see. Also, if you have a low horizon, check out Venus. It's just risen. It's in Taurus, and it's going to be super bright. Go to in-the-sky.org if you want to make your sky map. Also, check us out on other social media like Twitter. And although I don't tweet, we do have the videos available there for your friends who only use Twitter. Also, check out facebook.com/smAsho if you like. Check out instagram.com/smAsho for some more personal stuff having nothing to do with space weather, like this toad I captured and then safely released.
This toad, he's not going to be too happy.
He's not thrilled.
You're okay. You're free.
He thinks I can't see him. Anyway, check out instagram.com/smAsho. Some interesting stuff there. You may even get a recipe if you play your cards right. And also check out a white screen, as we love a white screen here, and we encourage you to have a white screen at home. That way you can be blinded and become snowblind by staring at a white screen. Check out gab.com/smAsho. Also, kind of an alternative to Twitter, and I actually do plan to attempt to use the platform later on this year. Also, check out minds.com with their beautiful dark skin here. It's so great. And check out our thumbnail yesterday. I love this one. Eric Schmidt's got Baffin Bay on his face, and Hillary Clinton's got Iceland on her face. There's 9 feet of snow in those areas. Just thought you'd like to know. And yeah, so check out minds.com, the social media that won't censor you. And it's open source, and you can earn crypto. And please like and subscribe our channel, as we've lost another 2 subscribers since yesterday. And if you think we're worried about that, we're not, because YouTube pays us exactly nothing. We can't discuss the terms of service, as the terms of service prevent us from discussing the terms of service. So anyway, if you want to support the channel, please do so via the links in the description. And try to share our videos, see how that works out for you. Earthquake rundown. Here's a 4.7 south of Easter Island. And I always like to zoom in on this area as it is one of the most desolate places in the whole world. Check it out. You want to see a place with nobody around. Me, oh my. That is not a place to get shipwrecked. You won't even find an island. Man, oh man. Earthquake uptick. Let's do this rundown before we're old and gray. 4.9 in Indonesia. At depth, heads up at Indonesia for a larger quake at the surface. Aftershock at Japan, 4.5, 5.9 at New Zealand. Shout out New Zealand viewers. Let us know how you're faring. 4.9 at Costa Rica. 4.8 at Costa Rica. 4.5 at Mayotte. African Rift Zone. Leave a comment if you're able to view this video from Africa, and I doubt it. Here's a 5.4 at New Zealand also. 5.2 at New Zealand. 4.6 at Russia. East of Kamchatka. See a 5.3 at New Caledonia. 4.2 in Afghanistan at depth. Heads up Afghanistan for a larger quake at the surface. Buildings there typically not made too well to withstand earthquakes. Shout out if you're in the Middle East. Here's a 5.0 at New Zealand as it continues to rock, followed by a 4.2 and a 5.2, all within the same hour. Man. Middle East quakes continue with a 4.2 in Turkey. There's a 4.0 in Mexico, a 4.3 at Japan. Man. Earthquake uptick. 5.1 at Tonga, a 6.4 at New Zealand. More real earthquakes, folks. Let's see if any tsunamis have been generated by any of this stuff. I doubt it, as there was a much larger intensity quake there a couple days ago at a 7.2, following a downgrade from 7.4. Anyway, no current warnings, advisories, watches, or threats, so that's a good thing. Tsunami is one of the deadliest forces in the world, folks. We got a double anticyclone over the Pacific Ocean. If you're not familiar with anticyclones, it's when you see a clockwise rotating dry air mass in the northern hemisphere. Or in the southern hemisphere, if it's rotating clockwise, I mean counterclockwise, that's an anticyclone too. Right there. We're not going to get into the global electric circuit implications, but you should know what the global electric circuit is. It's kind of important. Anyway, there's the pressure maps. I'm not going to let this play. I'm just going to play the wind maps. We're going to look at the 9,000 meter wind, which is a fairly good proxy for the jet stream. And at least there's a little bit of a jet stream over the US now. However, over eastern Russia, convective forces are governing the situation. Look, we've got some winds here that are moving east to west. So the jet stream still has some massive abnormalities. And in the southern hemisphere, it's highly meridional flow with some extreme winds in some places. 170 knots right there. Anyway, let's move on, as this has taken a while. We'll look at the US Doppler radar. I'm not sure if I refreshed it, so I'll make sure I do. As Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri and Arkansas get hit once again. Sorry to say it. Let's look at the shortwave for once. This is how you look at clouds when it's dark out, folks. Look at the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites. It's not quite the same as a visible satellite, but does give somewhat of an idea of what's going on. Resolution of this is only 2 kilometers, folks. Anyway, we'll go to the water vapor because it's a little bit more intuitive. Pardon the delay with the clicking. And there you have that. I'm going to let that play for a minute. Anyway, folks, there's what's going on in the upper atmosphere in that area. And if you're in the crosshairs of that, be prepared, as I'm sure you probably are by now, as you've been getting hit every day in those areas. Please shout out if you've had any hail damage, wind damage, anything ruined, struck by lightning, weather damage, late plantings. Let us know in the comments. Talk about an active lightning front, son of a bee. Look at that. That's crazy. Mount Pleasant. There is thunder rolling in if you're in Mount Pleasant. Shout out. Looks like we've made it to the volcano section. Let's do a rundown as we've seen a downtick. Shiva Luch exploding, producing a 13,000-foot plume there. Tokono producing a 7,000-foot plume. Sabancaya, 25,000-foot ash plume there. And new emissions observed at Revenador. So whatever you do, don't try to do a triple Lindy over Sabancaya. We've moved on to the that is an ass and that is a hole in the ground section. And this might get a little hairy. Now, please let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in a t-shirt that says this: resist we much, we must, and we will much about that. Be committed. One of the most famous statements ever by Al Sharpton. Shout out, Al, if you're watching the video. Let us know if you'd like a t-shirt with this. We're considering some merch options. We don't know if we want to go with our memes or if we want to go with some kind of smAsho team or Smash logo or some kind of thing like that, or maybe just some kind of sun porn. I'm not sure, but we've got a lot of memes. If you'd like access to some of these, just join the Patreon. We'll actually do requests there if you're paying for it, and it'll only cost you $1 a month. So tell your friends 8 == capital D. That's the new formula proving anthropogenic global warming. Sell your freaking SUVs and ignore my advice from yesterday about burning a tire to increase your carbon footprint, since 8 == capital D. Now, here's another quote from Bernie, which is why this here growth of the private sector needs to be accompanied by an even larger and more intrusive government. All right, it's not a direct quote, but I've just summarized everything he said for the last 5 years, 50 years, 100 years. Is he that old? I forget. Let's define a term. Douchebags. This photo contains 4. Summer's Eve left and Summer's Eve right, as well as Chris Carmichael and everybody's favorite doper, Lance Armstrong. The solstice is coming, folks. Now, we were considering campaigning for Oprah in 2020, as her wisdom and speaking her truth to power and offering free stuff is extremely attractive to voters who would perhaps like another billionaire celebrity president. I'm not sure if she's going to throw her hat into the ring or not, but Oprah 2020 We'll campaign for you. Possibly running with Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, we're setting rumors up here, folks. And to quote Liz Warren here, member of the Cherokee Nation, she's just trying to pass this 59,346 page bill, which will guarantee wampum as a human right. I don't know if you were aware, but urge your local senator or congresshuman, whatever Z's gender might be, to please vote for Liz's latest bill, and please email her Senate office about it. Also, hoping that Liz decides to become Bernie's running mate. That way we can guarantee free healthcare, college, breakfast cereals, electricity, gas, broadband, internet, sex changes, abortions, wampum ponies, and inflation as a human right. I think we ran out of memes, so let's move on to definitions. Don't forget to watch our
Solstice
live stream on Friday. It'll start about 15 minutes before the solstice and probably last about an hour. So that'll be about 11:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Anyway, the solstice is either of the 2 points, like the winter or the summer solstice, where the sun is directly over the tropic. Link in the description to the Farmer's Almanac article about what a solstice is. It's the one end of the Earth's little seasonal thing, the seasonal tilt to the Earth, the solstice. If you don't know what it is, watch our channel anyway. Here's Barron's article about Facebook's new crypto, and it's going to make a big impact, folks. If you think that it's not, you got another thing coming. Since Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Uber have all invested massive money into the infrastructure of this new digital coin called Libra. It is also backed up by a basket of world currencies such as the dollar, the yen, the euro, etc. So be prepared for that, as it's going to blast onto the scene. It's going to fix some of the problems associated with people who are unable to get a bank account. And at the same time, by the way, Facebook is being investigated for antitrust. So I'm not going to comment anything other than that, but good luck with that one, Mark. I won't be utilizing that form of currency, by the way. Here's a feel-good article on Zero Hedge. Stay in the game, yo. Stay in the game, no matter how bad things are. Don't sweat it, because you could end up like this guy, getting signed on a $30 million contract in the NFL. So anyway, it's an article relating to an article we will cover in a moment. But first, I'm going to talk about whatever the next article is, and I have no idea. Oh, it's about police vehicles and the technology therein. You may be interested to know that they can, for instance, turn on their backup camera without putting the vehicle in reverse. Now, I regularly drive a vehicle that has a backup camera, and I should be able to turn it on when I'm on the highway to see how stupid the guy looks who's tailgating me while looking at his phone. And this article is not loading. Come on, Extreme Tech, you're killing us here. Now we've got a black screen for our viewers' viewing pleasure. And thanks for your patience, the Smash team, as our channel continues to grow and increase in sophistication. Anyway, links in the article from Extreme Tech, they are there. And Extreme Tech isn't liking our stream very much. Anyway, go fast, go safe, parts covered there if you're able to get the article to load. It's not on our end because, check it out, the servers work. Anyway, relating to the article we just covered, U.S. youth suicide rate reaches 20-year high. And that's what we're talking about when we say don't get out of the game. Don't come up with a permanent solution to a temporary problem, folks. I've also noticed that farmer suicides are on the rise. Please figure something out instead of doing harm to yourself and others. Science article about earthquake swarms and how they may solve a missing piece of the tectonic plate volcano puzzle where deep swarms of quakes seem to highlight magmatic chamber areas and steam pathways. So interesting article there, also in the description. We're not going to cover any transients. You're going to get out of here like we just robbed a bank, because there's a lot of stuff to do. Sorry we didn't make a second stream yesterday. We toyed with the idea, but there was just too much stuff to do. So here's a 304 angstroms view, and this is only 8 hours and 45 minutes of the solar activity, since you now can't see the timestamps. It looks like most of the filaments have collapsed except that one down in the southwest, and it's pretty minor compared to what we were seeing yesterday. So solar minimum continues, again, 10.7 centimeter radial flux only at 67, 0 sunspot for 31 consecutive days. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Let me get through the comments here, and we will call this thing a stream. Also, let us know if you have any playback problems where the video ends abruptly with my saying anything besides, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins. Not sure what you mean, John, by the 10% crack. Verify? I guess I'll have to read that later because this video is over. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in, folks. Thanks, donors, subscribers, etc. Please share on your social media, as we don't really care if we get to 1,400 subscribers or not, but find it odd that we're not. And so, yeah, thanks again. Please visit the links in the description and help support the channel. Increase the probability that some minor hiccup won't cause these videos to stop coming out. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun anyway, just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.